Hey everyone, this is Clara. We are in Leipzig, Germany, and today I'm going to be showing you exactly how to replace a lost or stolen passport, and you should listen to me because I have first-hand experience in the matter. Step 1 is stay calm. I know this seems like the end of the world. You've just lost your passport, and as a traveler, that's like the #1 nightmare besides maybe losing a limb, or no matter what you had planned for your trip. Put that on hold for a moment. Current job and focus is to get a new passport. Once you get into this mindset, I find that it really helps keep on track and you kind of get into it. It's like a mission, get a passport. Step 2 is go to your local embassy. Now, when I had my passport stolen, and you can go to the link below and hear my story about how that all happened, what you're going to need to do is go to the local embassy, and I was in Barcelona when my passport was stolen, so I went to the American embassy in Barcelona. Unfortunately, it depends on where you're traveling. If you're in the middle of nowhere or even in a less major city, you might need to travel a little bit to get to your local American or whatever your nationality is embassy. So what you're going to need to do is type into Google American, or insert your nationality here, embassy near me, find the nearest one to you and work from there. Step 3 is call the embassy and schedule an appointment. I also just walked in. So what you're going to need to do is number 1, bring money. My temporary passport cost me 145 euros, so make sure you have some sort of method of payment on hand. Number 2, you're going to need some sort of identification so they can identify who you are and make sure that it's you. I brought with me the copy that I had of my passport, which PSA to every traveler ever, or just person, have a copy of your passport so that if something like this does occur, you can have a proof of your identity with you. I already had my passport on Google Drive. I printed it out to make life a little bit easier, and I brought that with me as well. You're also going to need to take a passport photo when you arrive at the embassy. Luckily, they usually have a photo booth where you can do this. I did that there. It cost around 5 euros. It was no problem. I got like 4 or 6 pictures out of it. Step number 4 is give the people the information they need and wait. I was asked when my next travel plans were. Originally, I wanted to go to Portugal, but that was kind of out the window. And remember that the goal of the temporary passport is not to act as a total substitute for a new passport for the rest of your life. This is, as it says in the name, an emergency passport. The goal of it is to get you safely to your next destination. Once you get your temporary passport, you will be given a DS5504 form. And this is exactly the kind of form you need for someone who has lost or had their passport stolen and needs to apply for a new one. The embassy will give this to you along with a sheet of paper on the front with specific instructions on how to apply for a new passport, and keep this close to you. Don't let it go. Make copies. You will need to eventually send this in with the rest of your materials when you apply for a normal passport. And when you have this sheet of paper, it lets the embassy know you already paid the $145 fee, so you don't need to pay it again. So luckily, the most expensive part of this is all done. This whole process definitely took less than 24 hours. In fact, I think it took about 3 or 4 hours. So you can even get it the same day or go back the next day in the morning. So they're very, very speedy when it comes to these emergency passports, which is fantastic. You know, at the embassy, you might see some other Americans who are in the same predicament as you.
What are you in for?
Lost passport. What are you in for?
Lost passport.
Feel better in knowing that you probably aren't alone in this situation. There's still a little bit of work to do after you get your temporary passport, but you're on your way. Once you have your temporary passport, go to your next destination. Now, your next destination should be home or where you're currently residing, but I want to say that this does not mean that you have to go home immediately. For example, I stayed like a week more in Barcelona and had a fantastic time, but I would not recommend gallivanting all over the place with a temporary passport for more than you need to, because it's just unsafe and will probably get you into a little bit of trouble. Play it safe and get where you need to go as soon as possible. Do I even know how to count? Okay, step 6, you've arrived safely at home thanks to that emergency passport. Now it is time for you to apply for a real passport. I can only speak to the process of Americans applying for an American passport in Germany, but I assume the process is relatively similar in other countries if you're an American as well. I guess if you live right next to the embassy, good for you. But most likely you're going to be sending all of this stuff through mail. So you're going to need to send your DS5504 form filled out with all the relevant information. I also have a link below on how to fill that out electronically and print it out if you're having trouble finding this form or something. Next, you're gonna need a passport photo that is less than 6 months old. Just use the ones that you got at the embassy where you received your temporary passport. Oh, and I almost forgot, one of the most important things to include in the package is your temporary passport itself. You do not get to keep it. You have to return it in order to get a new passport. So don't forget to put that in your package along with everything else. And you're gonna need a very specific label, and I'm gonna get into that later. This is where I kind of messed up a little bit, and the consulate obviously needs to send your passport back to you eventually. So they're gonna need your address and all of your information with a very specific label. So this is the case if you're an American in Germany applying for a new passport. The kind of label you're going to need is a DHL Easy Express label. I have the link below and exactly how to get this label. It's really straightforward. Don't be like me and think, I can just get it at the post office, because they're not lying. You really can't. You can really only get it online. This label is so that the consulate can send something back to you. So you are the recipient, or in German, Empfänger. So put in your information for the Empfänger. The Absender or the sender is the consulate. So put in their information for that. Yeah, I messed this part up. Keep in mind that if you do mess up like I did, you will be receiving an email from the consulate with a checklist of all the things you're missing, and they specifically said I was missing this DHL Easy Express label. So you will be informed if something's missing, but try to get everything in there. After you send everything out, you will receive a receipt at the post office with a serial number for your DHL packet, and this will enable you to track your package to see if it reached the embassy. It took about 2 days for my package within Germany from Leipzig to reach Frankfurt, which was really nice. And be aware that you can also track the status of your application. I also have that in a link below, but it might take 2 weeks in general for them to even put necessary information up there. So I didn't really look at that. I just looked at my DHL package status to make sure that what needed to get to the consulate got there, and it did. If there are any issues with your application, they are obligated to let you know by email, so they will be in touch with you. Wait. Because of my DHL label mishap, thinking I could cheat the system and just buy the label at the post office, I think I set myself back a couple weeks, but even then I got my passport within 2 months, which I thought was pretty good, considering the expedited fee is 60 euros and that only promises that it comes to you within 5 to 7 weeks. So I think maybe it's not worth paying the expediting fee, because if you're not like me and you don't really mess up, it should come to you even quicker, which is great. Get your passport in the mail. The first thing I need you to do once you get this new passport is immediately make a copy or take pictures of it and upload that to Google Drive. God forbid this happens to you again, but it won't, because you're smarter now. I felt like a kid on Christmas getting my passport back. Through this experience, you'll realize not to take your passport for granted. It's extremely important. Here she is. She's so beautiful. I received this the day before yesterday, and now I am booking trips left and right. I'm thrilled to have this little guy with me again. So, okay, feel better? Just know that this is a fixable problem. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of money, but it's not the end of the world, and as long as you follow all the steps I laid out for you, you should be good and ready to go. So now enjoy the rest of your trip wherever you are. Just get that temporary passport as soon as possible, stay calm, and it's gonna be okay. Hope this video helped you. Enjoy the process, learn from it, and once you get your new passport, you will never take her for granted again. Okay, bye, thanks for watching, and can't wait to see you on our next adventure. Now that I have this baby, we're gonna be going places. Okay, bye. Thank you so much again for watching. If you learned anything new from this video or enjoyed it in any way, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you on our next adventure.